When wildfires devastated Los Angeles, everyone blamed nature. But Barron Trump uncovered a secret so shocking, it exposed a dangerous conspiracy hidden in the flames. What he discovered could change everything we thought we knew about these fires. Stay tuned as we reveal the unbelievable truth behind LA's wildfire disaster. The wildfires tearing through Los Angeles were catastrophic, reducing homes to ash and forcing thousands to flee. But while the world mourned the devastation, Barron Trump noticed something unsettling. As he analyzed reports and satellite images, he saw a peculiar pattern in the ignition points. They weren't random, they followed a deliberate path. Intrigued and uneasy, Barron decided to dig deeper, unaware that his curiosity would lead him into a dangerous conspiracy. Barron's initial findings were chilling. Using maps from public fire reports and satellite data, he traced the ignition points. The alignment wasn't natural. It formed a clear trajectory moving through valuable land areas. The deeper he looked, the stranger it became. Many of the affected properties had been purchased just months before the fires by a corporation called Novaterra Ventures, a name he hadn't heard before. Even more suspicious, these purchases were made at prices well above market value. Why would anyone overpay for land in fire-prone areas? Barron couldn't ignore the implications. Determined to learn more, Barron reached out to experts, including a retired fire investigator named Daniel Hayes. Daniel was skeptical at first, but after reviewing the maps, he admitted the patterns were unusual. Wildfires don't spread like this unless there's something pushing them, he said, his brow furrowed. Or someone starting them. The thought sent a chill down Barron's spine. Could these fires have been deliberate? His suspicions deepened when he stumbled across a video on a local forum. The grainy footage showed a small object, possibly a drone, hovering near the site of a fire's origin. Moments later, a spark erupted, igniting the dry brush. Barron saved the video, knowing it could be the key to proving what he feared. The fires weren't just accidents, they were part of a calculated plan. Barron's discovery of the drone footage fueled his determination to uncover the truth. He decided to investigate Novaterra Ventures, the company tied to the suspicious land purchases. What he found was startling. Novaterra was a shell corporation with little information available about its ownership or operations. The only name he could connect to it was Elliot Graves, a low-profile billionaire with interests in real estate and energy. Graves had a reputation for exploiting disaster-stricken areas for profit, but his involvement in something as destructive as the LA wildfires was hard to comprehend. Barron realized he couldn't do this alone. He contacted Sophia Reed, a journalist known for exposing corporate corruption. Sophia was initially skeptical of Barron's claims but agreed to meet after reviewing the drone footage and property records he had gathered. "This isn't just suspicious, it's damning," she said, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "If Graves is behind this, we're looking at one of the biggest scandals in recent history." The two decided to work together, pooling their resources to dig deeper into Novaterra's activities. Sophia used her media connections to obtain leaked internal documents, which revealed shocking details. Emails discussing clearing land through unconventional means and plans for rapid redevelopment in fire-affected zones. One chilling line stood out: "Ensure all ignition points align with the project map." It was clear now. These fires weren't natural. They were orchestrated. But the more evidence Barron and Sophia gathered, the more they realized the danger they were in. Late one night, Barron noticed a black SUV parked near his apartment. Its dark-tinted windows concealed whoever was inside, but its presence was unmistakably threatening. Someone was watching him, and they weren't happy about what he was uncovering. Barron knew the black SUV was no coincidence. The deeper he and Sophia dug into Novaterra, the clearer it became that someone was trying to intimidate them. That night, Sophia received an anonymous email containing a single warning: "Drop this now, or you'll regret it." The stakes were rising, but instead of scaring them off, the threats only strengthened their resolve. Sophia managed to acquire a confidential blueprint labeled Operation Ember, linked directly to Novaterra. It detailed the strategic use of drones to ignite fires in specific areas, clearing high-value land for redevelopment. The plan was chilling in its precision, with fire paths mapped to avoid key infrastructures while maximizing destruction in residential zones. What was most alarming were notes referencing bribes to local officials to overlook irregularities in the rebuilding permits. Barron and Sophia knew this evidence could blow the conspiracy wide open, but releasing it was risky. The SUV sightings became more frequent, and one evening, Barron found a note taped to his car. "You're playing a dangerous game." The message was clear. They were being hunted. The two decided to act quickly. They encrypted their findings and sent copies to trusted allies, including a former federal investigator, Mark Vance, who agreed to review the material. "This isn't just arson," Mark said after looking through the documents. "This is organized eco-terrorism, and it goes all the way to the top." As the pieces of the puzzle came together, Barron couldn't help but feel the weight of the lives lost and families displaced by the fires. "This isn't just about exposing Novaterra," he told Sophia. "It's about getting justice for everyone affected." But time was running out, and Novaterra's shadowy forces were closing in. Barron and Sophia knew they had to move fast. With the threats escalating, they decided to release their findings through multiple trusted channels, ensuring the story couldn't be silenced. But before they could act, their secure server was hacked, and some of their evidence was erased. Worse, a message appeared on their screen. "Final warning. Walk away." Determined not to back down, they regrouped at a safe house arranged by Mark Vance. There they finalized their exposé, including the most damning pieces of evidence: the blueprint for Operation Ember, financial transactions tying Novaterra to local officials, and emails from Elliot Graves himself, one of which chillingly read, "Ensure maximum clearance by month's end. No delays." But just as they prepared to distribute the story, disaster struck. Barron's car was tailed by the black SUV, forcing him into a high-speed chase through the dim streets of Los Angeles. Using quick thinking, he managed to lose the pursuers by ducking into a crowded parking structure and abandoning the car. Shaken but unharmed, he contacted Sophia, who urged him to stay hidden until the story went live. Meanwhile, Mark reached out to his contacts in law enforcement, tipping them off about Novaterra's activities. With pressure mounting, the trio worked tirelessly to ensure their exposé would hit major outlets simultaneously. They knew that once the truth was out, it would be impossible to contain. Finally, the moment arrived. Barron, Sophia, and Mark executed their plan, releasing the exposé simultaneously to major news outlets and trusted investigative journalists. The headlines were explosive. Operation Ember, the secret plot behind LA's devastating wildfires. The story revealed how Novaterra Ventures orchestrated the fires, using drones to ignite flames and bribes to silence officials, all to clear land for massive redevelopment projects. The public's reaction was immediate and furious. Protests erupted across Los Angeles, with thousands demanding justice for the displaced families and lives lost. The exposé implicated not only Novaterra's CEO, Elliot Graves, but also several high-ranking local officials who had accepted bribes to overlook the suspicious activities. Within hours, federal authorities launched an investigation, issuing warrants for Graves and his associates. But while the story gained traction, the danger hadn't passed. As Barron and Sophia monitored the fallout, they noticed a sudden spike in attempts to trace their encrypted communications. Someone was still trying to track them down. Mark urged them to stay in hiding until law enforcement could act. Meanwhile, Novaterra's operations began to unravel. Whistleblowers within the company came forward, corroborating the evidence Barron and Sophia had uncovered. Among them was a senior executive who admitted the fires were part of a long-term plan called Burn and Build, aimed at profiting from devastated communities. The confession added fuel to the growing outrage. As authorities closed in, Elliot Graves disappeared. Reports suggested he had fled the country, leaving his empire to crumble in his absence. Novaterra's assets were frozen, and several executives were arrested, but the shadow of Graves loomed large, a reminder that justice was still incomplete. The aftermath of the exposé brought sweeping changes, but the scars of the wildfires remained. Families who had lost their homes began receiving aid, and displaced communities found hope in the public outcry. New laws were passed to regulate land acquisitions in disaster-prone areas, and stricter oversight of drone technology was implemented. The scandal became a turning point in the fight against corporate greed. But for Barron Trump, the journey was far from over. In the weeks following the exposé, Barron stayed out of the spotlight, his name now synonymous with bravery and truth. Despite the attention, he felt the weight of the lives affected by the fires. He visited evacuation centers discreetly, meeting families who had been directly impacted. One mother tearfully told him, "Because of you, we have hope again." Her words reaffirmed his belief that standing up for the truth, no matter the cost, was worth it. Sophia, too, reflected on their journey. She returned to investigative journalism with a renewed sense of purpose, while Mark Vance continued working with authorities to track down Elliot Graves. Despite Graves's escape, his empire had been dismantled and his influence shattered. For Barron, the experience was life-changing. He decided to dedicate himself to activism, advocating for environmental justice and corporate accountability. In his first public statement after the exposé, he said, "The truth matters, but it comes at a price. We must all stand together to hold those in power accountable." The story of Novaterra's corruption and the devastating wildfires became a symbol of resilience and the power of ordinary people to uncover extraordinary truths. Barron's courage inspired countless others to take a stand in their own communities, proving that even the smallest voice can ignite a movement. And that's how Barron Trump uncovered the shocking truth behind the LA wildfires, exposing a conspiracy that shook the nation. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more stories that matter. Together we can keep shining a light on the truth.